Hello and welcome to another video. So today we are checking out a Daria RuneCraft deck. So this Daria RuneCraft, and now I'm clicking on things I don't need to click on, it's pretty okay, to be honest. It's pretty straightforward Daria RuneCraft, pretty normal, what you'll see typically when you play these decks. I also want to give a Dimensional Shift deck a go because I've seen those go pretty crazy lately and that would be a lot of fun. Otherwise, in fact, I've got a lot of cards that I didn't realize I had. I have a lot of Rune animated cards, that is for sure. So if you guys are going to enjoy this video, don't forget to hit a like at the end of the video if you enjoy it. Otherwise, we're going to get right into it and check it out. So this deck actually did fairly well for me in Unlimited compared to some of the other decks I've been playing lately, trying to get through. I found that a lot of decks I'll go on 3 or 4 deck losing streaks before I actually start winning again. And that typically comes down to the matchups. There's a lot of blood going around, there's a lot of forest and a lot of haven. Rune I haven't seen quite as much of, although it's definitely the 4th deck out of those. While those 3 tend to be the ones I see the most, Rune is probably very next one that I would see. I barely see, of course, any Portal or anything else. Barely any Dragon, Sword, those decks. Rune, though, does wonders, as you can see here. Early spell boosting is important. You don't want to get as much value out of your cards as you can. Sometimes that doesn't always work out, but in this case, we can actually bounce and kill one of these for double draw and double spell boosting, which works pretty well overall. So the fact that we have Enchanted already down to 3 and 4, along with the Twinblade at 4, does give us some really nice plays after the next turn or so when we can really start to ramp up damage. And they've already put themselves at 10, which is not something you want to do against a RuneCraft player typically. You want to avoid putting yourself anywhere near potential lethal ranges. Not that we could do a lot that turn, but if it was a Dirt Rune deck, you'd be in some serious trouble. So this isn't as good. Of course, the free Urias Evo is going to hurt us big time in the long run. And we really just need to start powering through this as much as we can, getting in the damage where possible. And we are going to take 1, not that they can heal now, which is good, so at least we don't have to worry about that value. Although we do lose a lot of value on this 6/6, which I'll probably be using to just go face with at this point. I mean, we could also kill off the 5/3 with it, but I'd have to really make up my mind on that one. And while this is a tempting hand just to throw Daria onto, a Magical Owl play next turn will give us a lot more value as far as Blade Mage goes and Clark and all those cards, so I think it's definitely better off holding onto it for now. Since we have double Knowledge Seeker in our hand. It's a pity it's not turn 8. We could have dealt 6 damage off just the Knowledge Seekers, then we could have just Daria'd and Mageblade and had some real fun times. Pretty much have lethal at that point. But turn 7 we work with what we've got, so Owling. And now having to take the Daria because none of these cards are really worth holding onto at all. Other than maybe Knowledge, I guess. And we actually get 4 damage, so that only leaves them with 2 health remaining, one of which can be killed by the Angelic Snipe. Snipe. Make sure I get that right next time. And we've got a really good board that has to be dealt with. And since it's not turn 8 where you would see something like Dark Feast Bat, our opponent really is just going to have to force this now. Although Dark Feast Bat's probably not what I would expect out of this deck in particular. So this was super easy. After this, all I needed to do was take out the big one, which obviously if my opponent had noticed, I could win off board either way. So it wasn't a big deal just to go and win the game there. Now for our next match, the other super popular deck on the ladder right now, Havencraft. So going up against that, that's always a lot of fun. And they got the nice moon. I also have that leader. It's actually one of my favorite Haven leaders to use typically. Fun fact about me. I do like the moon leader. I should actually set it as the default. I don't think I've got it set as default anymore. I used to. So we've got a fairly decent hand, although a little clunky for our early game. The double Fates and Owl are going to make a huge impact in the mid game at turn 5 there with the Evo. The only real problem now is really filling out the rest of our turns. Lucky for us, Haven seems to be doing very similar, where they're only really setting up some draw cards and not really making any kind of impact. And we can take out the Holy Bow with double Angelic Snipe, plus a nice little insight play, so this is looking to be a really well-rounded turn. And while I could go for the double Fates hand here, I do decide to hold off on that, since we don't really have anything super spell boostable right now to really take advantage of. The only good thing to spell boost now is the Fiery Embrace, not that we need to deal with this Elena too harshly yet. So bouncing one of these draws back right when it's about to ping is definitely going to hurt their flow. Although they probably would have overdrawn by 1 at least anyway, so I guess I helped them out slightly. Actually no, they would have drawn exact amount, so I guess that worked to our advantage. Now the double Elena prayer setup, that one hurts a little bit. We haven't got that many cards to spell boost now, and we really do need to start taking these out. Or we are going to be in some serious trouble. Lucky for us, we did end up with another Twinblade Mage, so we can start to really tick the clock down here. Ticking the clock down every single snipe here. Fiery Embrace will kill one, our Owl will kill the other. And the rest of it is just value from here. Especially since we now have the Daria play as well. And there we go. So Twinblade Mages actually will take this out. We won't even need to use the Owl. And we can start really dealing some damage. While also setting up a very, very nice Daria turn next. So there is only 8 damage there, but our board is stable. Our opponent is forced into a Gem Princess, which, honestly, not a big help against this right now. And with an Evo point, we basically guaranteed lethal now. We only have to use the Daria and attack, and that'll pretty much win us the game. Well, not pretty much, it will. And they were actually some decent drawouts too. Mysterian Knowledge could potentially have got us some really nice cards to use Blade Mage on, but I did forget to account for the heal, so I am glad I ended up getting the extra Blade Mage. Not that it was a big deal, I'm sure we would have found a card to use. So that worked out pretty nicely. I would definitely say I favour Rune when it comes to Unlimited. They have so many good options and so many good packages for decks at the moment that you can't really skip over it. Also, the fact that this deck in particular is probably one of the cheapest decks you can possibly play as far as the current Unlimited meta goes and still do really well. Running just for 3 Darias is really inexpensive compared to most decks these days. So hopefully you guys did enjoy it. You will find the deck list in the description below. Be sure to like button and subscribe for more content. Until next time guys, see ya.